Okay, good evening. How's it going? Yes.
Not too bad.
So tonight, this is one of the candidates, and we've got another. Got Andrew. If you can add Andrew in for the remote, please, remote editor. So these two candidates have committed their time tonight to show on why you should give them your electoral vote in the Maungakiekie Electorate. But with every election, there's one thing standing in their way. That's your vote. Well, I think someone sat there and turned off the opening credits halfway through, but let's kick off the show, considering what the track will restart from scratch. So how is everyone this evening?
Not too bad. Good.
Okay, so tonight we have two candidates here. We've got Eric from Rock the Vote, and we have...
Hi, everybody. Yay.
And we've got Andrew, who's from New Zealand First.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, so yes, we'll get the camera back onto me. So yes, tonight we are coming here live from Maungakiekie right now, and hopefully that's the right camera to be on. Yes, I'm the host. I hope I put them in the right points. I'll probably get told off later on that I'll put them in the wrong places. I didn't. So tonight we have two candidates here for the It's in the Ballot show, and just for those in the audience, you'll be able to, if you move around, you can see on our broadcast computer down there when Andrew is talking, we'll be able to sit there and do that. So, Eric, you're in studio. Let's kick off with your opening statements of why the Maungakiekie voters should give you their electoral vote.
Right. I'm from Rock the Vote New Zealand Party, Eric Chuah for the Maungakiekie Electorate vote. Now, why is because we are a grassroots centrist democratic party that values our national sovereignty, energy independence, and also we will expand our economy in such a way that when the expansion of the economy grows more and more, that means more people can share in the cake. So we are going to do that, and we'll be strong in law and order. We also make sure that the 70% of small and medium enterprises will grow. Okay, so we'll make sure we do that. And meanwhile, also party vote Freedom's New Zealand Umbrella Coalition. Give your electorate votes to us, Rock the Votes New Zealand Party. Why? Because we will be there for you on the ground level, bottoms up, serving you as a servant of the people MP. Right? We won't be always like so high up in the air and putting parties first. The large parties always put the parties first. Whereas we, the Rock the Vote to New Zealand Party, will be down on the ground level, rolling up our sleeves, helping you do and roll the wire aid out and getting things done on the ground level. That's the difference. Thank you.
Not a problem. Thank you for that. Okay, Andrew, your opening statements of why the Maungakiekie voters should give you their electoral vote.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Andrew Hogg, and I'm the New Zealand First Party candidate for Maungakiekie Electorate. I was born in the UK and grew up in New Zealand, and now work in Auckland as an electrical engineer. I'm proud of the diversity of people within the Maungakiekie Electorate, but I'm deeply concerned about the rising crime. If you want a safer community, then party vote New Zealand First. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so now for those who are wondering what's happened to our other candidates, we do have apologies from Phillip Bridge, who is the independent. He was scheduled to come in today, but has had to deal with a family emergency, and we pass on our respects. Margo I'm not even sure how to say that name for the ACT person, had no interest in ever coming. Sapna Samant declined the invite. Greg Fleming also declined, and Priyanca, was it Radhakrishnan, did not respond to our emails, but I have heard from a third-party source that it was going to be a decline due to the short timing nature of the invite, which seems to be a recurring theme with our Auckland shows. Now, for those who are wondering where the Maungakiekie Electorate is, sorry, we haven't got the map up on the screen, but the Maungakiekie Electorate starts from near the state southwestern motorway near Hillsborough. Now, does it run down Hillsborough Road? Yes, it does run down Hillsborough Road. Yeah, so it does run down Hillsborough Road, and it's a bit west, crosses over with Parr Road and Manukau Road, and also includes the suburbs of Royal Oak, Onehunga, Te Papapa, Oranga, Penrose, also crosses over into Ellerslie, and also includes parts of Mount Wellington and half of the Sylvia Park shopping centre. I think that might be the best way to do it, and also includes Southdown and the suburbs of Penrose. So, oh, thank you. Someone has brought up a map. I can't see that, but that's all good. Now, we'll get back to me. The questions we think you'll be asking after watching tonight's show, can we sit there and have that on camera free, please? Okay, so the questions we think you'll be asking after watching tonight's show, and I'll just make sure I get the right thing on my end. Okay. With the latest news about tax relief, will you be able to afford a Chub Chup lollipop or a Magnum ice cream? Is Muldoon Think Big on its way back by offering owners of old cars the ability to convert their petrol cars to LPG in order to combat carbon emissions? And will national SUMAs soon come with strings attached, such as mandatory annual flu vaccines, in order to keep receiving this universal payment? These are some very tough questions that our politicians do need to ask. Now, let's get that question back, get that camera back onto me, so then our local host can sit down there and jump in. Jill, thank you for joining us back here tonight. Now, would you like to explain how to defer the button cards? Because my voice sounds a bit boring hearing that night after night.
Well, it was my job as candidate liaison, but rush. And hi, Andrew. I see you on the. Well, I'll see you soon online. So I didn't book. So, take. Andrew. Also answer. Both of you only have 2 opportunities. Hopefully.
Jill, hold the mic a bit closer to you because we lost half the conversation.
Mike?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, right. Okay, so I really am looking at ice cream here, aren't I?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Hopefully that was the explanation of the button cards, which was understandable. And the other card one is a defer card. The reason that there may be some candidates that do not want to answer a particular question. Or alternatively, they may think that some other candidate can provide a better answer. So it's up to them. Again, you only have 1 opportunity for that. When you have used your button, it only applies to you, Eric. Just render it share, and then we know you've used it.
All right. Yeah.
Okay. We're now up to ask box numbers. So seeing that Eric is actually in studio, hope you don't mind, Andrew, we're going to ask Eric box number.
Okay, I'll do number 7.
It's a lucky number. So number 7, we have question A for Alpha. Over the past few years, New Zealand has suffered from many forms of division. How would your party reconnect people and heal the divide so we are a united country once again?
Right. First of all, we would look into the fact that all peoples of New Zealand, all cultures, all religions, diversity are one under one rule of law. We are all equal. So we do not want to have things like co-governance that divide and rule, that we are divided into tribes, various tribes, Pacific tribe, Maori tribe, when all of us just wants to be Kiwis, just to have those Kiwi heartland values that made New Zealand so great. The courteous, polite, relational, connecting people that we are. So we do not want that. So how we do that is because if we hold on to that fast under the Bill of Rights Act to enshrine that, we will enable all of us to be together as one and to heal the divide. In a way, that's how some parties like Labour do. They divide and rule. So not us. Rock the Boat will not do that. We'll unite everyone.
Okay, Andrew, what box number do you want?
Let's go for 21.
Okay, Andrew, that's E for Echo. The Future of Local Government report says a significant fund is also needed to support climate change adaptation activities. How is your party going to respond to this issue?
Well, New Zealand's first emissions reduction plan, New Zealand and supports the adoption of standardised farming level reporting. New Zealand First will incentivise the uptake of the emissions reduction mitigations, such as low methane genetics and low methane producing animal food. Thank you.
Okay, turn off the timer. Sorry, just a little bit of, put the camera back on me, please. Otherwise, those at home see Eric and see my voice talking. Okay, thank you for that. Eric, what box number would you like?
Let's do number 8 then.
Do number 8.
Eric, we have V for Victor.
Please.
Tell us one personal quality that you can offer our country as an MP.
Now, where do I start? Okay, first of all, I have worked on the ground level as a cafe owner in Dinsdale, Hamilton, where we paid every supplier everything that they needed to be paid. All the bills were paid, and the only thing we had was just leftover fish and chips to bring back to our children. So we really can identify with all those small, medium businesses suffering because of the cost of living situation that we are facing right now. And also, apart from that, I have worked on the ground level as a Telstra Clear manager, knocking doors in Onehanga, and also in Karori, Wellington, door after door, selling broadband. The title sounds good, but you do knock doors all the time. And some people will say, no, but some will say yes. But again, you got to be on the ground level. And I also see that, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Next up, Andrew, what box number?
I can't see the numbers. Can you just zoom in a little bit? Just so I
Between
can see
1
the
and
numbers.
28 and...
What, between
1 and 28, did you say?
choose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you just bring the microphone a bit closer, just so I can quite hear? Is there number 5?
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can
hear me now.
loud and
Okay.
clear.
Yeah, we've got echoes in this building. So choose a number from
okay.
1 to 28.
Say number 5.
Number 5.
Okay, Andrew, we've got question Q for Quebec. My fiance and I are concerned that we will never be able to afford a property in the electorate where we grew up. What are you going to do to make housing affordable and accessible for first home buyers in our electorate?
Right. We'll undertake a select committee inquiry into improved policy for first home buyers for Kiwis. That is our fundamental statement that we are saying around that. We keep it pretty short. That's all.
Yeah, that was very quick and brief. Okay. So, Eric, what box number? What's the next one you want to choose?
Let's do number 9.
Okay, Eric, we have L for Lima. If you had been an elected MP at the time of the protests at Parliament regarding the mandates, would you have gone onto the grounds of Parliament to listen to the concerns of the people?
Definitely, yes. Rock the boat, New Zealand MPs would do that because we are for the people and by the people. I mean, it's shocking that, David Seymour wanted to do that, but then somehow he was influenced by whoever I do not know, and he decided not to do that. And that is wrong because all the people wanted to was to be heard. And we were just needing to listen to them and understand their needs. And Rock the Votes New Zealand Party, and that's why you should vote for me in the electorate of Maungakiekie, is that we are down here to listen to you, to your needs. We won't talk over you. We won't shout over you. We won't talk down to you. Okay? We are for the people and by the people. So definitely the answer is yes, we would go and listen to the protesters. They are there because there is a reason. Their hearts cry out with the mandates that was imposed by Jacinda Ardern and Jacinda. Imposing the jabs on people. We have the privacy to our body that is under the Bill of Rights, our individual choice. And a lot of people have very strong immune systems thanks to our New Zealand beef. There are vegans too who are strong, but the point is that we have the individual choice and no one has a right to impose that mandate and cause so much hardship. Yes, and lots of loss of jobs too as a result. People, police and nurses losing jobs. That's so unfair for them.
Thank you. Okay, Andrew, what box number?
So let me just say maybe number 17.
17. Okay, we have question P for Papa. In the 2019 budget, $1.9 billion was allocated to improving mental health services. To what extent do you consider that this has improved our mental health system and made a difference to our country's well-being?
I'm not sure if it really has improved the mental health of our country. I know it was the $1.9 billion budget allocated for the mental health, but there were very few mental health beds generated from that. I think there are, I don't quote me, but it was in the single digits. And there was also a refusal from the government to fund Gumboot Friday charity. So I think the game kind of needs to be raised there, especially where we have, $1.9 billion. I'm not sure how that got spent, to be honest, or what happened with that, but there we go. I'm not satisfied.
Okay, Eric, what box number?
I'll do number, have we done number 10?
Number 10?
Yes.
We have question R for Romeo. Does your party believe that there should be a policy on the location of alternative energy sources such as solar farms near urban areas?
Okay, contextually, right, it depends on the location of these solar farms, right? But if you're talking about a rural area of, well, it's kind of near urban designation, but the urban area does not get affected by the solar farms, I don't think there are any issues. And there we need to integrate and look into Auckland Council or whatever council it is in, integrate and look into the interconnectivity with the stakeholders there, the farm owners, and also to reconnect with the general public to get their voice, to get their opinion under our RMA Act. So basically, it involves a couple of stakeholders. And this is what Rock the Vote New Zealand Party will do. We'll go on the ground level again to listen to people, to understand their needs and to see whether these solar farms will affect others.
Okay. What box number, Andrew?
Okay, maybe box number 14.
And we've just zoomed up the camera to hopefully help make it a bit easier for you to see at home.
I could see that.
Awesome. Okay, we have X for X-ray. New South Wales has an independent commissioner to investigate corruption. Do you think New Zealand should investigate creating a similar position?
Well, New Zealand First policy currently has a number of select committee inquiries as part of policy, which could also be considered for investigating corruption. I also think for New Zealand First, fighting corruption, notably the wine box inquiry, demonstrates a level of demonstrated experience that we can draw from. So that's what we'd have to say for that. Thank you.
And we've got Eric who would like to use his button card.
Right, and to add value to what Andrew has said, Rock the Vote New Zealand will launch an independent investigations on how our situation of 2 billion of the light rail project has ballooned to 29 billion. Where did the money go? And the 53 million, which you actually need to pay $500,000 to a consultant to do the, where you want to put the cycle pathways, went up to 53 million. And then another 100 million of how do we fix potholes while having caviar, wine, and cheese, and discuss that. And there's 100 million given to consultants. Where did this money actually go to? We do have to launch an independent investigation. And that would be basically for corruption. We have to call a spade a spade. Basically, we would want that independent powers to do so. Many countries has international corruption agencies where the police cannot intervene or interfere, nor the intelligence agencies, as sometimes they may have vested interest.
Okay, Eric, what box number? 18.
We have letter H, H for hotel. Property investors often outbid first home buyers to house auctions. How would you encourage these investors to switch to more productive investments?
Indeed, this is something that we would really need to look at, perhaps a select committee, once all of us at Rock the Vote New Zealand Party electorate MPs get in. It's very important to do a research to see what's the problem with all these investors buying what we call things that don't grow the economy, because you buy a house, you jack up the value, and our New Zealand Jill and Joe block saved 10 years to get 200,000 grand, right? And the next moment, the property goes up 1.5 million. Oops, they lost it again. So that is totally shocking. We do need to also evaluate the example in Brisbane, where they have $400,000 houses, and you only need $50,000 Australian to buy a house. That's how we do it. We're going to do that. We're going to make sure the houses are affordable for the average New Zealander. They don't have to wait 10 years to buy a house. That's what we're going to do.
Okay, Andrew, what box number?
How about number 22?
We have letter T, T for Tango. Does your party believe that we should protect spaces and services exclusively for biological women?
New Zealand First would amend the Building Act to require the interest and safety of women and girls, that all public sector organisations provide separate, clearly demarcated unisex and single-sex bathrooms. That's our question.
Thank you. Very, very quick. Eric, what box number?
19.
We have question C, C for Charlie. How are you going to address the cost of living crisis?
That's a good question. First of all, there is the need to expand our economy. We have 4 of our Anzac brothers, the US, Canada, Australia, and Mother England. Each of them have a 1 trillion economy. Let's do 50 billion of trade with each of them. They won't steal our patents like some Asia Pacific dictatorship will do. They won't steal our copyright for all our inventions. And after that, let's expand it with our European allies and our Asia Pacific democracies. If you plus it all together, that's 500 billion. That's a lot of money for all the Kiwis to share in to reduce the cost of living. The other thing also we got to reduce the cost of living is to actually make sure we don't have inflationary house prices that jack up the values of so many things and affect the daily needs of our things like goods and services.
Okay, Andrew, what box number?
Number 3, please.
It is question O, O for Oscar. What actions are your party supporting to assist with climate change?
Okay, so previously under the PGF, we planted 1 billion trees. We'd be planting 1 billion trees again. New Zealand First believes in investment into emission reduction, innovations, which we had done through the Provincial Growth Fund with the likes of Blue Carbon initiatives and the 1 billion trees program. We're also a big advocate of heavy freight. Thank you.
Not a problem. It sounds like you're a bit of a railway fan up there.
Choo choo.
Yeah. Okay, Eric, what box number?
Okay, let's give it a try.
Question N for November. What would your party do about regulating the introduction of artificial intelligence?
Very good question. Firstly, we would make sure that proper research is done, okay, to look into the moral, ethical, and also the financial aspects of artificial intelligence. We won't rush for foolishly, like what Laksan said. Yes, we do artificial intelligence because there are a lot of consequences of things that we do not know that affects our natural biology. So artificial intelligence can be good on certain things like prosthetic limbs. It does help people have movement, that's great. But the part where it begins to intervene and affect normal human functions, proper research is needed. I can say that with a lot of fortitude as a former lecturer at Monash University, where we do very intensive research. We just don't off the top of the head say, yeah, it's okay, artificial intelligence.
Okay, thank you for that, Eric. What box number, Andrew?
Uh, 11.
Box 11.
We have question W for whiskey. Will your party support a full inquiry into the deaths and vaccination injuries that have resulted from the Pfizer vaccine program?
Absolutely, 100%. Yes. We don't end all vaccine mandates still operating in some organisations and medical facilities, and hold a credible, fully independent inquiry into New Zealand's COVID-19 response. That was quite a serious topic, and that's something the leader is very passionate, as am I, about. Thank you.
Not a problem. Eric, what box number?
All right, I'll do number 12.
Okay, we have question AB, Alpha Bravo. What is your party's policies to get families out of emergency accommodation and into long-term stable housing?
Good question. Basically, the first thing is that as you can see, the failure of the current government in building the houses that they promised for 6 years and only built 1,000 out of the 10,000. That's the shocking thing of it that's happening now. Our solution is basically to build houses of quality, but at around the pricing of about 400,000 New Zealanders, which has worked in Brisbane and Sydney. Nice homes like townhouses, but affordable, so the average Kiwi can be allowed to buy the house. There's also a bridging fund only for New Zealand citizens, where they are allowed to access that fund at very low cost loans. This has been successfully trialed and used in Singapore, where every Singaporean, just like every Kiwi, can own a home for just like $1,000. You can just buy a house if you're happy with a 2-bedroom home. So it can be done.
Okay, what box number?
How about box 26?
So I've just realised if you want to do a button question, just yell out button.
Or type it in the message board. The app that's available, which I think you've seen some fiery notes between ourselves, between myself and the remote editor, Alex.
Sure.
Okay, question D for Delta. Will your party review the relationships and sexuality education, known as RSE, in primary schools?
Well, I think fundamentally, New Zealand First believes that the health and sex education should be taught at an appropriate age and would be reviewed by the party. There's also a lot of, woke, I should use Winston instead of woke, but just gender ideology too much, especially at primary school level. So I think that just needs to be a bit more sensibly implemented, and that's where New Zealand First would be coming from. Thank you.
Okay, Eric, what box number?
Okay, right. Have we done 28?
I think 28's still there.
Okay. Give it
Question M. M for Mike.
a mic.
Long-term change requires strong and binding cross-party collaboration and agreement. What is one area that your party could commit to attempting genuine, lasting and binding cross-party work for the long-term benefit of New Zealand?
And that would be the enshrinement of a Bill of Rights Act into law to make sure our individual rights of every Kiwi is protected. And that's very important. That's what a democracy is about. So this would be one of the most important things. And the other one would be a binding referendum on the fact that only and only New Zealand citizens can vote. Nowhere in the world of any democracy, Asia Pacific or Western democracy, are any permanent residents allowed to vote. I can speak for that. I've been a permanent resident of Australia or Singapore. We can't vote. We can buy a house. We can earn money, but we can't vote. But here we are allowing permanent residents to vote. Where was the legislation? That is another cross-binding thing that I would like to work on. Rock the Vote of New Zealand. Sorry, Rock the Vote New Zealand Party. Together, the Freedoms Coalition umbrella party will look into that.
And we can add information on that. The changes that were made that included permanent residents were introduced by the Norman Kirk Labor government from 1972, ready for the 1974 local bodies and the 1975 general election. So that was when permanent residents have got to vote. And I do know, permanent residents became more politically involved as a result, including Stephen Young, who was the chair of the Maungakiekie Electoral Committee for the Labour Party, right through that whole movement. And it was the fact he got the right to vote as a Chinese citizen, who at that point he would have been here at least 20 years in 75, because he came along during the Chinese Civil War. That is what sparked his lifelong movement into politics as a permanent resident, and later on swore his allegiance to the Queen of New Zealand, becoming a citizen.
And that would be from the Labour Communist Party?
Well, he has followed that, but no. Stephen is a well-respected person for me and his family. His son now runs Newtown Market, but Stephen was the one who founded Newtown Market. So it is more, those are the background things there, but I widely respect that, because Stephen's one of those people who, he'll give you the leg up to get you becoming self-sufficient sort of thing. And I mean, he was very helpful for me keeping the coffee cart going. In my business plan, markets weren't on the cards, but guess what? My business is still standing, and but the work of him and his son getting me at these two markets really helped.
Is he a citizen now?
Yes,
that's
however,
what I mean.
He is no longer with us, but
Okay, we're
his
sorry
widow
to hear
Anna
that. He's
is
a great
also
man.
a citizen,
Great.
and I know very proudly votes.
Yes, great. That's why they can vote.
Yeah. Okay, Andrew, what box number?
Is it going to be, I'm going to take a chance and say number 13 and hope it's lucky.
I knew you were going to ask for that. So we have question Y for Yankee. What role should New Zealand play in international refugee crises?
I think, or the party thinks, should I say, New Zealand First is careful to balance the international refugee crisis with the needs of Kiwis back home. We very much believe in looking after Kiwis as well as being good to our Pacific neighbours and then further afield. And that's broadly where we stand on that.
I want to do a follow-up here. There has been a term from fellow Green parties have recommended climate change refugees, particularly focusing on the Pacific Islands. Would where would New Zealand first sit with refugees from the islands who have had to relocate due to rising sea levels? Do you know where the position lies?
I don't know where the position would lie, but there would be scope for that to be enacted and discussed at least. It sounds like common sense. So there would be some room, I think, to accommodate that, I believe. That's probably as much as I can say without...
making a policy without permission.
That's the one.
And that's all right. Thank you for helping that. That can at least broaden the perspective when it comes to, where would the priorities lie. And I mean, thank you for that.
Fundamentally, it's about being, looking after our folk back home here, and then our branching out to our neighbours in the Pacific. So you can sort the lines.
Okay, Eric, what's your next box number?
Question J for Juliet. The Future of Local Government report says the current local government funding and finance is already under pressure and is not sustainable. How is your party going to respond to this issue?
Well, I think firstly, we do have to set up a number of strategic units, basically one in the finance committee, one in the local government funding committee, and a few important brainstorming think tanks, and also that would actually hash out what are the issues, get on the ground with an action plan to get things done. That is to actually reduce the funding pressures. And all these funding pressures comes from, I'll just give you a simple example. Instead of fixing the potholes, they use $100 million to discuss on how to fix the potholes. Wow. And all this money, I wonder where they went actually. I mean, to which political parties coffers. Now, I'm not assuming, no, I'm just saying sometimes one wonders. And I think there needs to be an investigation, but, I think Rock the Boat New Zealand Party will look into looking at where the money went. 100 million of our taxpayer money, which I think you probably need half of that to fix all our potholes. So this is basically how we would solve this under pressure system. And we can't have parties where someone left a ministry and then spends 40,000 New Zealand dollars. I think the Ministry of Pacific Island Affairs spent $40,000 of our taxpayer money. And another one, 100,000. I do not know, but that's a lot of money spent on all this taxpayer stuff. I mean, a lot of kai there, and that's not acceptable because that is taxpayer money. You got to be very careful, due diligence. That's how we're going to respond to this issue. Party, Rock the Boat New Zealand Party.
Thank you for that. Andrew, what's the next box number?
Number 24.
We have F for Foxtrot. Current information from overseas indicates that vaping is not a healthier alternative to smoking. Children of primary school age are becoming addicted. What is your party's plan to address this health concern?
That is with regard to the vaping, that's correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, okay. I think our vaping policy is that there needs to be an increase in penalties for illegal sale to underage persons. And also our policy says that we require schools to report the number of vapes confiscated and brands to the Vaping Regulatory Authority for action. So there is concern, and we're proposing to police it. Thank you.
No problem. Eric, what's the next box number?
Right. What have we not done? Have we done 3? All right. Okay. Let's do 27 then.
We have S for Sierra. What is your view on the role of rail projects, including initiatives like Te Huia, that is the train that connects the Waikato and Auckland, in improving public transport and connectivity in New Zealand?
All right. First of all, I think because of the cost to blow out of the light rail project, we will shelve it. $29 billion of taxpayer money has been spent. That's a shocking, lots of it. Now, I'm not against railway projects in itself. It works in the metropolitan area like Wellington. It is quite effective. And many countries do have effective railway systems, so I'm not knocking that. But basically, like Te Huia, I mean, God knows how many times there were delays and the railway tracks were not working. It costs a lot of taxpayer money. So I think if it doesn't work, let's not waste time. Let's not do it. Yeah. So that's our point of view. Also, I think very importantly that if we want to have a light rail project or a train project, we better make sure we have the infrastructure to sustain it. Thank you.
By the way, button.
And we have a button.
I want a button. Okay. Well, New Zealand First will back heavy rail spur from Puhenui Station to the airport. Will support affordable public transport in urban and rural areas. Further investigate the reopening of the Wairoa to Gisborne railway line. Build the Marsden Spur linking Northport to Northland rail line. And complete a full rebuild and improvements to the Christchurch-Picton rail corridor, where we would go with that.
Before we move on, I want to ask both candidates. The busiest section of railway line is known as the, I think it's called the Golden Triangle, which is between Tauranga, Hamilton, and Auckland. What would your party or personal perspective, depending on where it's meant to lie, on electrifying the railway line from Pukekohe to Hamilton, and then continue with electrifying and double tracking from Hamilton Frankton Junction all the way through to Tauranga, to the ports of Tauranga, and both sides, both the Mount Maunganui and the Sulphur Point side at Tauranga?
Well, I think it's okay if it works. We really have to do due diligence so that we don't waste millions like the light rail system, $29 billion, and not rush forth. So we do proper research, due diligence, engineering analysis, cost-benefit analysis, down-to-earth stuff to make sure it's kosher before we proceed ahead.
Andrew? Yeah,
I mean, in principle, we'd sort of go that way, but if the Auckland to Hamilton, the Te Huia line is not, it's sort of ambling along as I understand it, it's sort of, and that's heavy rail, isn't it? Like diesel engines.
At the moment, it's diesel, yes.
Yes, so, I think population density would need to support electrification between the Golden Triangle, if you like, but if we can get there population density wise, or if we can sorry,
What about the freight aspect? Because we have the EFs, and their main job between Palmerston North and Hamilton is mainly transporting freight, not passenger rail, but it's electric.
Well, I know as an electrical engineer, heavy equals energy, which equals current, which equals large conductor. So the infrastructure of that is going to be quite a bit. Yeah, I look in principle, yes, but without further investigation, there's no commitment for me, and I don't want to get bollocking from Winston either.
No, fair enough. And yeah, great to know about your expertise there. You're more of an expert than me. I can tell you that. I'm just a rail fan who would like to see more rail in general in New Zealand, but particularly electric.
I'm a rail fan too, and I like steam engines. Just putting it out there.
What do you think of Richard Trevithick's steam engine?
Pass.
Okay. He is I'm trying to think how many generations back of a great grandfather, long before my family ended up in New Zealand. But yes, should we just say I'm a descendant of his?
Cool.
So yes, and in our household, George Stephenson's name is not very much welcome, which is the other one around the same period of time with steam trains.
I'll be looking that up after this.
Now, I think it's you, Andrew, for the next question.
Yes.
What number?
Can we go for one?
Good old number one.
That is B for Bravo. Do you believe that 16-year-olds have the maturity and to vote?
So that was B. I personally generally believe the maturity benchmark to be able to vote in an election should be like New Zealand contract law, which does not allow for legally binding contract if you're under 18 years of age. That would be my position and the party's position on that.
Thank you for that. That is the first time we've heard an answer like that, showing some actual logic behind it in a legal sense rather than, say, a personal opinion. It's quite refreshing to actually hear that. It's one of the most different and unique of answers we've had given so far. So thank you for that on that question.
My pleasure.
What box number?
Right, number 2 then. Yeah.
Question K for kilo. Oh, what is a quality that you admire in one of your fellow candidates?
If you want me to be, if you want me to be honest, okay, I think Paul Davey. Okay, no, okay. You mean the candidates in Maungakiekie, right?
Yeah, Jill. It's Maungakiekie candidates.
I think it's Maungakiekie.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I could have. Okay, then it starts here. The 1 minute. So basically, I would say I think Greg Fleming. He comes across to me as sincere and down to earth. Yeah. So he reflects the Kiwi qualities there. So I think Greg Fleming of National seems to come across to be quite good in that sense. Yeah.
Okay, Andrew, what box number?
Okay, number 15.
The old age we used to get our driver's licenses at.
U for unicorn. How has New Zealand changed since you were a child? Now, I understand you were actually brought up in Britain, right? From your opening statement?
Yes, that's correct. So when I came to New Zealand as a 12-year-old, it was the land of milk and honey.
Right.
Sorry?
So the question is, has it changed? So think of yourself at 12, coming to New Zealand.
Yeah.
So has it changed for the better? Has New Zealand changed for the better?
Well, it was the land of milk and honey. People had more time for each other, and your next door neighbour was a part of your family. All of these attributes have become rarer with time. New Zealand is quick to uptake new technology, which is an upward. During events, we become an amazing group of people towards each other. This is these days. I'd like to see a fraction of this caring for your fellow man flow through to society on any normal Kiwi day where there was no tragedy. So I guess I'm sort of saying no, but there's a glimmer of hope.
Just want to ask, what year did you come to New Zealand in?
And it was November 1997.
Yeah, that's real recent.
That's recent, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just trying to put into context there. Okay.
You should have been here in the 1960s, Andrew. That was where we were really swinging.
Real heartland, man.
Okay, Eric, what box number?
All right, let's do 3.
The current age you could get a driver's license at.
Z for Zulu.
Whoa.
But the farming sector is being negatively impacted by over-regulation. Will your party do for the farming sector to assist them to deliver positive environmental outcomes without adding more regulation?
Okay, I just want to be upfront here. First of all, we will repeal all the World Economic Forum, the climate change agreements we have, because we are already doing a lot of positive sustainability programs by ourselves. I can speak with authority. I worked 4 years insurance broking with farms. A lot of farmers driving 50 kilometers to a farm and they, sorry, mate, I'm coming, I'm driving back again. But hey, these guys are already making things very clean and green. So we don't need extra regulation. So what we will do is we'll repeal all these bureaucratic regulations, especially the carbon emission ones, which is absurd. I mean, we don't want to pay 15 billion for someone's sin, which is China's and India's, which we didn't even do. We are so clean and green. I'm not going to allow farmers to be having so much margins that they probably sell so much milk just to get 10 cents. It's just torture for our farmers. So Rock the World New Zealand Party will not allow that. We will stand to make sure that they continue to have environmental systems within each farm, and we will have connections with them and form a department to look after them, but not to control them or impose conditions from the United Nations, which has no relevance to our farming sector, especially the FAT tax or whatever it is.
Okay, Andrew, what box number?
Ooh, we're getting down now, aren't we? Number 25.
That is G for golf. Do you think New Zealand has coped well with the COVID-19 pandemic? What lessons have we learned?
I don't have a long answer. I mean, I believe New Zealand generally responded well during the first lockdown. However, there were further lockdowns, which went on unnecessarily for too long at the expense of family and businesses. So I think that ties back into the mandates, and I think that we probably, the further along we got, the more we kind of lost the pot a little bit. Well, not us, but the authorities. So the those in charge. So that's probably how I would respond to that.
Eric.
Well, I think we have learned here. I'm answering the question. The lessons we learned is not to create scaremongering amongst the public and forcing mandates on them to be jabbed. Now, I have this experience myself, where another country, one of our allies, do not impose mandates on them. They are not forced to jab. They have a choice to choose. In fact, many countries were like that. And ours is actually safer, cleaner, more spice, and yet we force our people to be mandated for jabs. And many good people, good working people, police, nurses, all lost their jobs unjustly. So we learned this lesson, never to do that again, never to offend and affect our Bill of Rights Act, which is our individual personal freedoms to our own personal body. We have a choice to choose to be jabbed or not to jab. I understand the usual thing, the COVID is everywhere. I was in Malaysia.
Okay, Eric, what box number?
23 then, oh yeah.
Question AA, Alpha Alpha. How is your party going to stop the increasing decline of health?
Good question. First of all, we don't need to have a policy thing, a select committee like New Zealand First like to do. But what we're going to do is to make sure kids don't have sugared stuff in school. So we will stop having sugary stuff, encourage the education of children in their civic program in school, not to have take sugary stuff that is beyond a certain limit. So I think that's very important. And also there are many things like brushing teeth, dental health, floss that can be taught. Prevention is better than cure. We will go back to the basics of our English tradition of preventive measures that was already successfully instituted years ago. In fact, in most of the former colonies of England, of Britain, they do that efficiently, even now. So we see we are having so much of this sugary stuff, Pepsi Cola, Coca-Cola, wrong advertisements, and all that, no more.
And we have got one last box number, number
So
4.
I've chosen it on your behalf, Andrew, because it's the only one left. We have I for India. The question is government spending on cycling and cycleways a
That doesn't
waste
sound very
of money?
Sorry, do you mind repeating that question? I didn't quite get it. Oh, have we lost?
Is this New Zealand First flip-flopping?
You want to repeat that? Just because he wouldn't have heard you.
Hey,
Okay.
I heard something about doing first flip-flop. I can hear. Are we back now?
Yes, we're back. Shall I just repeat that one more time?
Happy for me to answer.
Is government spending on cycling and cycleways a waste of money?
Okay. New Zealand First is not a proponent of spending money on light rail or new cycle lanes, while we have potholes and traffic going even slower. New Zealand First would require new cycle lane funding to be resourced by local government with an immediate moratorium on any new cycle lane funded from the National Land Transport Fund. That's where we stand on that.
Okay. It's the ballot. Yep. Do you have sound? No? Yes, we do. Okay, this is what happens when you get told, yeah, you're muted, and suddenly just... Okay, now let's get ready. Okay, so let's get ready for hard-hitting questions. Okay, and welcome back to It's in the Ballot. We're getting ready for hard-hitting questions. These are the questions that we ask all candidates who are standing here. Unfortunately, those who are not here, you're not going to be, who didn't appear on the show tonight, are not going to be able to give you their answers. You can feel free to sit there and tweet them on Twitter or whatever, doing hashtag It's in the Ballot, and see if we can get answers from those candidates. So we'll sit there and throw a bit of a change in the round. Andrew, we'll kick off with you with hard-hitting questions. The first hard-hitting question for tonight is, what is the most pressing issue in the Maungakiekie electorate? We have no sound coming through, Andrew. Still nothing's coming through. We'll change the audio settings. Okay, yeah, we're going to give Andrew a call, and we'll go over to Eric. What is the most pressing issue for the Maungakiekie electorate?
Right. Basically, it's cost of living. Basically, the cost of living has been an issue. We're talking about 53,000 mortgages going up an extra $2,000 each because of the rising interest rates from 2% to 6.5% to 8%. Now, that is a grave concern because there's about 200,000 people who gets affected, okay, when $2,000 of disposable income is wiped out. And this is due to unbridled printing of money and without the necessary real economy, where during the times of COVID, property prices were jacked up beyond its real value. And then now they are paying so much, and their values have gone down below the amount of money that they paid for. That means if you bought a house for 1.2 million, it's now 1 million, you have lost $200,000 thanks to Jacinda Ardern's printing of money and without proper real economic growth, thanks to the COVID lockdown, which affected lots of small and medium business enterprises. So many fell and so many jobs were lost because of these extreme mandate conditions. So this is one of the issues that we'll address. 70% of businesses in Maungakiekie area are small, medium enterprises, and they are hard hit, I can tell you that, because of this unbridled development where property prices are jacked beyond its real value and it cannot sustain itself. And then mortgages keep going higher and people can't keep up. There are cases where they even have just enough for boxes of Maggi noodles after paying every bill. And that is not the New Zealand way of life we want, where the Kiwi values and our quality of life has been degraded by these communistic policies.
Okay, thank you for that. While we're getting Andrew, Andrew back established to the connection here. So just we want to check, is your microphone coming through on transmit at the moment, or are we going to have to get to backup method? Let's do a test on the screen first.
I've got my microphone.
Okay, you're now suddenly working. How weird. Okay, talk to us on the stream. Don't need to head up to the backup method.
Okay. Let's continue on. Do you know which of the questions was it the most pressing issue in the Maungakiekie Electorate?
Yes, that is the question. What is the most pressing issue in the Maungakiekie Electorate? What you think is the most pressing issue is probably the best.
Yeah, what you think is the most pressing issue.
To say Eric over here or Priyanca, the local MP.
I think it's a universal issue, not just exclusive to Maungakiekie. It's probably the cost of living, cost of fresh fruit and vegetables, cost of fuel, cost of building materials, rising inflation, etc. Aside from that, it's Maungakiekie is One Tree Hill is Cornwall Park, and that's kind of a special gem which kind of needs to be preserved. It's not the most pressing issue, but to be acknowledged.
Okay. I want to ask before we head over to hard-hitting question number 2, is there a local fruit and vegetable market in the Maungakiekie Electorate?
I've been in quite a few of them. Well, obviously not Andrew, no, apologize for that, but you're not here. But I've been on the ground level, and they are expensive, like $6 to $7 or 1 kilo of bananas.
Really?
You can go bananas with that. I mean, this is crazy. That's how it has been jacked up. Yeah.
I work for a company, and they're going. I'm going to check the website right now. So for those who have a plug in, I do during the week. Normally I'm not. I work caution, and we do fruit delivery. And I'm
talking about the local shop here, like the groceries here. They check it out.
Our delivery rate, for delivery is $2.99 for a kg of bananas. That is both for those who are wondering, I mean, I work for the Wellington one, but that is both Auckland and Wellington. The going rate is $2.99 a kg for bananas, as I'm on live on their website right now. So paying $7 for bananas, I think someone is price gouging.
Yes.
That to me is price gouging. That's not, so cost of living crisis, more like being manufactured. Was it? But is there a vegetable market in Maungakiekie? The Electorate? Which is more what I was asking.
Yes, there is. If you look into
to the microphone, please. So those
sorry, Ellerslie. If you go to Ellerslie town, there's one. It's actually next to the Lotto shop. Which between the Lotto shop and a nice bar. If you guys want to go, I'm a candidate for Maungakiekie. I encourage you to go to Charlie Baxter, very nice pub just next to that veggie shop, fruit and veggie shop. Please go there and encourage business for those people of us in Maungakiekie. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay, so now let's head over to hard-hitting question number 2. Central government increasingly communicates with citizens via email and text. Therefore, the non-computer literate visit libraries for assistance. Changes to central government practices and legislation impacts local communities, which councils are expected to deliver without funding. Do you believe that central government should form partnerships with councils to deliver central government services? If so, how should this partnership be funded? And let's kick off with Andrew.
Well, I think New Zealand First generally believes central government communications should ideally be available in print form and publicly accessible from places such as the local library, town hall, public board, or similar. Funding initiatives could be based upon feedback sought from residents. This could include the chance for local residents to decide what slice of the pie central government contributes towards this. Would be my response to that.
Okay, thank you for that. And Eric?
Yes, there should be some partnership and interconnectivity with, between central government and council. However, I think councils should be allowed to have as much independence in their decision making. Okay, we want less government, not more government. And we do not want the central government to impose their ideas on things to do with libraries and all that. The Auckland Council, even now, is doing pretty well. I'm a borrower of heaps of library books, I can tell you. We don't need central government to dictate to us how we borrow and when we borrow books.
I want to ask, do you get many overdue fines?
Me, no. I'm really like, oh, cool, make sure I return in time. So I've been like very good in that. Yeah, I'm thankful for that. Yeah.
Oh, that's all right. I'm just wondering, I've never managed to get that, but I probably don't get out that many books.
Yeah, but one thing we sure do not want is another $100 million given to consultants to research whether it is good for central government to work with council. You know, that's definitely a no.
Okay, so we'll now get to my favourite part of the show. If elected, what would be the first member's bill that you put in the biscuit tin? Now, for those who are wondering at home, any member who isn't part of the executive but is part of the legislature is allowed to sit there and put in a member's bill. And once every sitting fortnight on a Wednesday, the government's agenda is set aside for Members' Day. This is where different pieces of legislation pass through. There was, I think I've mentioned about Sue Bradford's anti-smacking bill was a controversial one back in the day. There was the waste minimisation bill. I'm trying to. I think extending paid parental leave to 26 weeks that attracted the financial veto from Bill English was a member's bill that was passed. I mean, that's quite a few years ago since that happened. I'm trying to remember what other members' bills went through the ballot.
David
Seymour's euthanasia bill was a member's bill. Yeah, that is correct. Yes, that wasn't a government bill. So yeah, I mean, there's a few, but there's been some bills that have gone through there, and they can be quite unique. There's some good ones that come out there. There's also some not so good ones that sit there and actually don't cut the mustard. I do remember one that went through there that didn't cut the mustard was Simeon Brown wanting to have what was it called? Lines company to have emergency flashing lights in the same way that police cars and fire engines have. In the event of that, even that the standard practices at the moment, if you needed someone from the lines company to turn off the power, police tend to escort you there. So, that was quite an interesting one. I was very disappointed it didn't pass first reading. One of the bills of Parliament I do remember watching. So, Eric, what would be your first member's bill you put in the biscuit tin?
Definitely the anti-sexualization of children bill. It's so important. Yeah. We can't let 4-year-old kids learn pornography. That's wrong. That's morally wrong, and that's not a New Zealand moral thing to do. Yeah, we don't teach children pedophilia. That's evil. So we will have that push through. I think a lot of MPs will agree with that. I mean, you're talking about 18-year-olds learning biology and relationships. Yes, by all means, but not 4 years olds to 8-year-olds learning all kinds of pornographic things, which has no relationship to learning to ride a bike, learning to to be safe when you cross the road. I think these are more important values. Yes, and safety, security. Don't talk to strangers. That kind of things. Where are the moral values? These are Kiwi values, Christian values. Sorry to say that, but it is true. I mean, we need to affirm that. Anti-sexualization of children bill will be the first thing that we would do. One of the important bills. Yep. And Paul agrees. Paul Davey, yes, our electorate candidate, Auckland Central.
Okay, and Andrew, what will be your first members' bill you put in the biscuit tin?
So this isn't party policy, but if it was for me, it would probably to increase financial literacy to be taught in school right from a young age, probably 5, 6 years old upward. It just makes sense. I think, if I know, for example, when I went to university, student loan, there were others that went into the trades that were switched on in the sense that they built up a bit of a deposit, and then by the time I graduated university, they were onto their second house. And if you don't manage your money properly, it's just we're talking about cost of living. Well, often the problem is not what not the amount of money you have, but what you do with that money. And so I'd like to see financial literacy introduced into schools. And other tangibles you get from that is, the crime would probably go down if people learn to make money for themselves, but also it teaches people the value of money, and that I guess gets people to be more, how should we say it, take more personal responsibility. If we can all do that in society, it's kind of that was it throw one stone, kill two birds type of thing.
That sounds like a very interesting members' bill, and I have to say, another one of my favourites that can be added to the list I've heard through the It's Ballot campaign. I as I say, I hear many different members' bills and that, and this is one that has, makes my eyes light up. Probably the best way of describing it.
Well, I was taught calculus, but I wasn't taught how to put $1 in a bank account and watch it grow. So,
or how to research interest rates. I mean,
exactly.
I'd like to say teaching person how to write a check, but that's kind of a little bit redundant now. Yeah, as I probably say, most of the people in this room write out a check on these our novelty checkbooks.
Literally, if you just took a chunk of a little bit of money and just put it somewhere doing nothing, it's doing something positive. And time is on your side. So if you've got that time, and you start early. So and financial literacy.
With the OCR, have we got our OCR at the right rate? Because in the last 12 months, we finally have got savings accounts that actually have decent interest rates, whereas 12 months ago, basically it was a joke to even put money in a savings account because the going interest rate was less than 1% on an on-call basis, and you got 2% if you locked it away for 12 months.
Well, I think it is. The only problem is that it's actually pegged on the, inflation rate, okay? And this is where the index is trying to curb inflation, so it keeps going up. So as the OCR goes up, that actually allows the expensive, the expansionary effect of inflation and the cost of living from fruits and veggies inferred downwards to be reduced. So I think it helps in that sense that, as you say, higher interest rates for loans, for savings, but also to curb the inflationary pressures created by too much spending, too much waste. Look at the 29 billion light rail project, for instance. There's a lot of waste there. And that's how you get this extra, reverberations in our economy that affects the, all the other aspects, cost of living, law and order, all of the society. We got to do something about reining in these excesses of spending, government spending. Yes, exactly.
Okay, let's get to our final part of the show, closing statements. Eric, would you like to kick off first, please?
Right. Firstly, you vote for me, Maungakiekie Electorate, Rock the Vote Party. Eric Chuah is my name. And you vote for me because, one, National Act says they would prefer not to have any party that holds them hostage for 3 to 4 months and create instability. So if they are going to do that, then you need our seat. You need to vote for us. All National Act electorate votes must come to us. You can have your party votes, but only for our electorate seats, similar to our electorate seat in Auckland Central, Paul Davey and John Alcock in Pakura. Give us all your electorate seats, National Act supporters, because with that, we will provide the safety, stability. We don't want you to be put hostage by one party that will keep negotiating for you for like months and months and months. We don't want any flip-flops, okay? So vote for us. And for all the Labour electorate voters, vote for us too. Because Priyanca will be getting in on 15 on the list. So why waste your votes on her? Give us that vote to keep someone out. You want to keep Winston out, right? So give us your electorate votes too. Yeah, so party vote, Freedom's New Zealand Umbrella Coalition. Always remember to do that so we can get that 7% and the 8 seats plus our 3 electorate seats. So all ACT, National and Labour people, give us your electorate votes for where Rock the Vote is standing. Then you have these 3 candidates that will give you the stability, 3 members of parliament. And that's where you have that strength. And then you have the extra 7 seats from Freedom's Coalition Umbrella Party. And then you'll have the necessary stability of supply of bills. You definitely do not want to have a party that's known to flip-flop all the time and put yourself into a hostage situation. I'm talking about Winston first. Sorry, sorry, New Zealand first. Sorry, was it Winston first? Or okay, anyway. Okay. All right.
Okay, and Andrew, your closing statement, please.
Well, I think the electorate vote should be given to Eric Chu of Rock the Vote Party. But the party vote, we ask for New Zealand first, and it comes back to our first pillars, our first founding principles, where fair democracy and equal citizenship apply, building a prosperous nation, protecting community and country. We want sovereignty and responsible government, and self-sufficiency and pragmatic environmentalism. If those sound like sensible pillars to you, party vote New Zealand first. Thank you.
Thank you for that. So that sounds like we're attempt to create a seat overhang, which is when Parliament receives more electoral votes than party votes for the party, and I think that's a very good tactic. It worked for Te Pāti Māori in 2008, where their party votes initially had 3 seats, but they won 5 electorates, so Parliament was 122 seats. And in 2011 and 14, they had a 1-seat overhang. Te Pāti Māori was in that case in 2011, and Peter Dunn's United Future was that in 2014. And I do believe the Legalised Cannabis Party got more votes than United Future. Now, before we go, this is something that is a vital message that needs to get out there, particularly if you are on the Māori roll and you do not have your Easy Vote card on you. If you remember our Women's Suffrage Day special, our host, Linda McGregor. So yesterday, she went to the Newtown School polling booth to place her vote. Now, Linda has been on Te Tai Tonga, or the Māori roll, the majority of her life. She went into the polling booth. She asked for te tai tonga. The polling booth directed her to the rongotai roll. She sat there and said to the person for the te tai tonga electorate, so the person looks up the rongotai book and go, I can't find you. Then it then goes again and say, I cannot find you. You're going to have to do a special vote. Now, Linda held her ground and managed to get her name found on the Te Tai Tonga electoral roll, which is the Māori roll. However, other people back in 2014, particularly in Te Tai Tokerau, which is quite far away from Te Tai Tonga, but still a Māori electorate, where people who did not have easy vote cards who were on the Māori roll were forced to cast a general vote on a general electorate vote that then was deemed invalid because they were effectively forced to do a vote on the wrong roll, which made their electoral vote invalid. So if you don't have your easy vote card and you are on the Māori roll, stand your ground. Do not sit there and let a polling place manager try to convince you to fill out a special vote form for a general electorate seat when you're on the Māori roll, because that polling place will effectively, in turn, mean your electoral vote has been deemed invalid. And it only means your party vote will end up being counted. Now, if you do have your easy vote card, brilliant. That hopefully should clear up things. But if it doesn't, that is the next thing to push through there. Before they insist on, as they can't find you on the general roll, insist on them to look at the Māori roll. Now, convention is meant to be, is that the first booth, as you walk into a polling booth, the first book is meant to be a Māori electorate roll. That is convention. I'm not sure if that rule is 100% in the case now, but that's been a convention that has been around since the change to the electoral tax in 1950, when they got both Māori and general roll voters started voting on the same day. I'm concerned seeing this has been brought up by Linda, but I believe that is something we need to get there and get out there and remind voters, if you're on the Māori roll, don't have your easy vote card and they can't find you on the general roll, make that point very clear, because I don't want to see voters being pushed to vote on the general roll to have their general vote removed because they're on the Māori roll, because a polling place decided that it was easier to send someone to do a special vote than it was to look at a Māori roll vote. The process is meant to take a minute. This took Linda 15 minutes. That is not what we want to see when it comes to voting. So that is something out there that I believe needs to be put out there for voters. And
Right. Make sure you just vote for me. Electorate vote, okay? Dr. Eric Chuah, Maungakiekie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, at least Maungakiekie is a general seat. Now, we got some other news coming up. So we did this back for the 2022 local body elections. We did a set of, we rebroadcasted some of our episodes, and we're going to be doing the same again for the general election. We're starting from 11 a.m. tomorrow. We'll be rebroadcasting the Mana Electorate Show. At 1 p.m. we'll be doing the Hut South, where you can see Linda McGregor in action. At 3 p.m. we've got the Rimutaka Electorate, where you can see Angela McLeod in action. And at 5 p.m. you'll have the Wairarapa Electorate. And then tomorrow at 7 p.m. we'll have a live It's in the Ballot show for the Pakuranga Electorate. Now, we're going to be doing this throughout for the next weeks, considering it is 7 days till voting closes. So we want to help you become informed on what the parties are out there. And one of the common questions asked by us is there, have you done the electorate to the show you've already done? So we'll definitely be going out there, out of our way to rebroadcast our shows and give those people out there who are undecided a second opportunity on who they should, to inform them on who to vote for. Can we thank the candidates, both Eric, who's in studio, and Andrew, who has come remotely. Please put Andrew on the screen. Thank you for coming this evening and making this work.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you.
Utilising the best technologies that It's in the Ballot offers. I think we're the only place that gives you the option of in-studio, remote, and also if you can't make it but someone else can step in your place, they can also fill in as well. Can I also sit there and thank, was it Ian and front and studio for doing the cameras. And cameras in the Jill for being the question host, and can I thank both Alex and Stacey for doing remote editing tonight, and thank you for stepping in at the last minute, Stacey, to sit there and get things going. This has been an absolute much help on going that. And can we thank the audience for coming? Yeah. And I have just heard from Stacey, who has told me this in my ear while I was talking about Linda. Stacey, our producer, has also been on the moulding roll. She has previously never experienced that problem, and I hope she does not experience that problem when voting for the Ikaroa Rāwhiti electorate, which is Stacey's new electorate to vote in this election. So, fingers crossed, Ikaroa Rāwhiti, don't sit there and follow the same mistakes as Te Tai Tonga. So, thank you for watching, and we'll
thank you, Sam.
see you tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. in Pakaranga.